Are you a beginner in painting? Yeah? Do you want to know how to start your own acrylic portrait? Yeah? Well, lucky child, I have the solution for you. As someone who taught themselves how to paint, I have scoured the internet for resources and processes, and I finally have one that works for me. So here's how to start a portrait in 5 steps. So for the first step, you're going to start off with a really rough sketch of your painting. I prefer to do this step digitally, but you can also do this step traditionally. I recommend keeping the sketch in similar dimensions to your actual canvas, so that way things will be easier to place later. So make sure the placement of your subjects are accurate and the colors are accurate, but you don't need too much details. So don't worry about shading or faces or anything like that, just the placements and colors. Now, this step is arguably the most important, and it is references. So there are 2 ways to do this step. If your subject is a real person, just take a picture of them the way you want them to appear in the portrait and use that picture for reference. But if your subject isn't a real person, you have to do extra steps. Method 1 is to look on Pinterest for a subject that matches the look of your OC or the pose that you desire, and use this image as a reference when painting your picture. Or you can do the method I use, which is to create your characters in The Sims 4. And this is not sponsored, this is what I genuinely do. But The Sims is free on most consoles and it has really good character creator system. So you can basically make characters that look just like your OCs. And here are some examples that I did for this painting. I had a lot of different characters for this painting and I created them all in The Sims first. Once you have your reference photos, you need to redraw your original sketch from earlier using your new reference pictures. So you can cut and paste them onto your sketch, draw on top of them, and make them as accurate as you want the final painting to be. And you can think about the lighting, the shading, and the placement of all the characters. You can add extra PNGs and extra photos, anything that you need onto this reference because this will be the final reference before you begin your painting. So the next step is the preliminary sketch. This step is optional, but it really helps me, so I decided to include it. What you want to do is draw your reference on paper traditionally. Do this so you can make sure it's perfect before you transfer it onto your canvas. And I usually do this step to add facial expressions to my characters because The Sims isn't really great for specific expression. So this next step is pretty tricky. So tricky that I don't have much footage of it. But I wanted to make sure that the sketch was really accurate, so I didn't record me drawing it on the canvas, but the method that you can use to transfer your sketch onto the canvas is the grid method. For those of you that don't know, the grid method is where you draw a grid onto your canvas and then you draw the same grid onto your reference, and you fill in the squares to match the reference. You can just eyeball it instead, but this is an easier method. And after your sketch is done, you're just going to spray your sketch down with clear spray paint or some type of sealant so that way it doesn't disappear when you paint on top. This next step is the underpainting. Besides actually painting, this is the step that takes the longest depending on how detailed your painting is. The underpainting is the base of your painting before you add details. Think of it like flat colors when you're doing digital art. Some people just use one color for the entire underpainting, but I like to make mine a bit more detailed so it's easier to paint on later. I like to start my underpaintings with my background color mixed in with a bit of water, and I put it over the whole painting. So for example, I did green with this painting, and once that's done, I let it dry down a little bit, and then I block in the colors for all of the characters. So you can see I'm doing the skin color, the hair color, and the clothes. And I also use the same process when I'm coloring the background or food or little accessories. After I'm done blocking in the colors for the underpainting, I let it dry for a while, like an hour or two, and then you can begin your acrylic painting on top. Some tips when making your final painting is to make a base color and then make 2 highlights of the base color and 2 darker shades of the base color. And you can use this for anything you paint, like hair, skin color, clothes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at your reference photo and paint the darker sections first and work your way up to the lightest section. So I couldn't film me actually painting this painting because I had a deadline to meet, but I am going to show you the finished product, so here it is. I hope this video helped you get a better understanding of acrylic painting. Feel free to leave more tips in the comments because there might be something that I didn't mention or something that you do and you want to add to help others. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want more content, and make sure you also follow me on TikTok because I post my art more frequently on there. And I hope you make some awesome paintings. Bye.